Okay, let me say a very good morning. Top man, England and former Arsenal defender Martin Keown joins us on TalkSport. Martin, good morning.
Morning, fellas.
Good morning, Martin. You
Martin,
Yes,
sorry, Ray.
Very well.
Martin, I speak to Mer, speak to Ray Parler, and they're all really getting irritated, big style. The Arsenal saga, if I like, and I just feel someone in the team, the starting 11, Martin, has just got to stand up and be a leader here. You know, before they got in that dressing room, say, come on, we can't keep putting up with this. We've got to start we've got to start giving a little bit more and giving the fans something to shout about.
Well, of course, but, I think the leadership really needed to be better off the pitch as well. And I think that's where the players, they're suffering, this group. They don't seem to be a strong group mentally. And this sort of indecision of the manager, is he staying, is he going, the lack of leadership and direction, really from the manager, really, and from the club. I think that uncertainty doesn't sit well with this group of players. And
I tell you what didn't help Martin and Ray either was the statement the other day, okay, also, and Sanchez, we put off till the summer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I thought, well, that's ridiculous. Why would you put that off when, the manager doesn't, you don't know if he's staying or not, Martin. Surely he's got to come out and say, I'm going to invest, I'm staying for another year at least.
Well, that's really what needs to happen long term. If you're a player in that situation, I'm sure there's a few getting a bit hot under the collar. I mean, it looks like Ozil in terms of, if you're going to select a player, you need first of all reliability that he's going to be available for selection. And Ozil really, for the last 2 months, hasn't. For whatever reason, the day before a game or the day of the game, he's pulling out.
And then he turns up in Dortmund, Martin. I thought he was injured on the treatment table. He's in Dortmund.
Yeah, quite.
Exactly, and all this sort of suspicion, the trust, the lack of trust. At least Sanchez, I suppose, has showed some passion on the training pitch. There may have been an incident denied by the management, confirmed by the players. All these things don't look good from an Arsenal point of view. Now, the results is the most important thing. And if you look at the league table, they're now 2 points behind Manchester United. The next set of games coming up, Arsenal play Man City. Now, it doesn't get any easier, but Liverpool play Everton. Manchester United suddenly looking good. They have West Brom at home. It now looks like, I know Arsenal have got 2 games in hand, but it's going to be an outside chance now for them to make the top 4.
Yeah. Oh, you'd have to say, Martin, at this moment in time, they haven't got a prayer. It simply seems to be going down the pan. And I honestly do believe some of the players are hiding behind the criticism that Arsenal's getting, to be honest. Well,
if you're there, Ray, you have to make... listen, as a player, you're thinking, well, listen, with due respect, I'm going to be here next year, hopefully.
Yeah.
I can't do anything about who the manager is. I want to play in the Champions League. So, there's no point in us feeling sorry for ourselves because we're losing the manager. But having worked for Arsene Wenger, and there's a magic that he delivers, you simply play for Arsene Wenger. He is that sort of manager. And I feel maybe that love's been taken away from the manager by going, and it's affecting this group. And somewhere along the line, there needs to be a clear direction, and it needs to come very quickly from the manager.
Yeah, I think it should have come from the top, Martin. I've never known this before.
We're back to David Dein again, or lack of a David Dein.
I think you're spot on, Alan. I think when David was there, David gave guidance to the club, and he gave them the right direction in which to move. And I honestly do believe the club should have taken this upon themselves to have made that decision.
Yeah, it's slightly different though, Ray, because we've had 20 years under our feet, and if David Dein were there, it would still be a difficult situation for him. And Arsene Wenger now is, I think we're all hoping that he makes the correct decision, but does he feel if he leaves now that he leaves Arsenal in a tricky situation with Ozil and Sanchez's contracts right now? Shouldn't he see that one through?
And what about Oxlade Chamberlain? What about Jack Wilshere? There's another couple of little question marks, isn't there?
Well, they need to find form on the pitch, don't they? Jack's not even getting in the Bournemouth team. And Oxlade-Chamberlain is, he didn't make the England team, which played so very well just a couple of days ago. So they're not really training on and developing into the players we expected them to.
Do you think he'll stay, Martin? Do you think he'll stay?
I believe he will stay.
Yeah, I do.
In fact, I think all he's got wrong is the timing. He always wanted to sign. I believe there was a contract there for him to sign. I have no inside information. I'm nothing to do with the club, really, other than a former player. He didn't want to announce it because maybe he was a bit of unrest with the fans. And then it's galloped on and it's affected the team. And now he's looking for the right time to announce that he's going to stay. He has to stay. Whether it's right or wrong, it remains to be seen, but I believe he'll stay for at least another year.
Interesting, Martin. What do you think about the England performance, matey? I thought it was very encouraging.
Very good. Listen, it was like watching Chelsea. I'll have to say that I think Steve Holland's input must have been there. Gareth has done very well bringing him on board. They played. The compliment I can play them is that every player knew their role and responsibility in possession and out of possession. We had a good threat at the top of the pitch. We pressed the ball really well. We looked way better than Germany. It concerned me, though, that the Germans didn't seem to be taking it that seriously. They play Azerbaijan, I think, in a friendly match soon. A lot of their guys were injured, and we've kind of left people on the pitch for a little bit longer than I would have liked. We changed our front three after 70 minutes, and it was a game that we were giving it everything, and it didn't seem Germany were, but they still won it. And Podolski, that's a warning for me. We get done by top strikers in major tournaments.
Yeah.
I just feel that, Podolski played 130 matches. Get tight to him. I would have loved to have spoiled his evening, but instead we indulged him, give him space on the edge of the box, and he punished us. I know it was a brilliant strike, but let's not be surprised.
Martin, formation, I feel like a stuck record here, but for the last couple of years I've been saying England should play three centre-backs because of the quality and pace of not just two full-backs, but 4 or 5 that England can call on.
I think personnel as well.
I think that's the way forward, to play wing-backs and play three centre-backs, Stones in the middle.
The thing about three, I played in a three, and you have to play it, I believe, with full-backs that want to attack. I did it with Darren Anderson and Stephen Manaman. They didn't really want to become full-backs, so as a centre-half, I ended up out there. But with the 5, I think Chelsea have demonstrated very well that you have to have... I know that they've only got one fullback, I suppose, but Moses does it brilliantly the way he comes in. The midfield area is really important, that you get that work rate in that engine room. And we had Dyer Livermore. I thought Livermore played really well the other night.
Did do well, didn't he?
But he did. But we've not got enough quality in that area. We're asking Dyer to play there when he should be in the back three. For me,
you don't think should Bartley not be in there, or is he not come on as much as we expected?
We need a Tony Kroos. When you looked at him the other night, he gets in there, Al, and his use of the ball is fantastic. He sprays it wherever he wishes, and Martin's spot on. You need that work ethic with those two in the middle of the field.
But you see, looking ahead now to the next England game, I'd love to see Rashford come into that middle of the park at the top. I think it's time now to, as well as Vardy did, but I believe that Rashford can beat you with a bit of skill. I wouldn't want to play against Rashford.
Especially the way Mustafi's been playing. I thought he's ideal play against him.
Yeah, and maybe now we could, the option of does Dele Alli then sit back into the midfield and play in a 2, because, I don't think Lithuania will have anybody that really will punish us in that midfield, so we can be a little bit more progressive going forward instead of having 2 that sit in the midfield. So there's a lot of work there to do. Stones comes back into the team, of course.
Yep.
Cahill's not going to be available, he's suspended. But I thought Keown did really well in the back three, and that was a major plus for us.
I think Gareth's going to do well. Martin, I'm just concerned about the time. I must talk about one of your clubs as well, Everton. What a good season if we can just keep hold of Lukaku. It looks like the new stadium. They've got received backing from the City Council, so it's all positive at Everton at the moment.
Well, Koeman is the one they need to keep there. I think he's one of the top managers in European football. Love the way that he develops the players. Barkley, look at the improvement of him. People said he didn't have that football intelligence. Well, I see it there now. So, it's a former club of mine. Shame that the ground's going, but I suppose that's about development, and they have to keep pace with, everybody now in the top 5, 6 is doing something to their ground, if not changing it. Chelsea, Tottenham, Liverpool now have done an incredible job with their stadium. So Everton, that's what they need to do to keep pace with the other teams.